All right, going to have a talk with us here for a second. And what I'm getting ready to speak about here is not new news. As a matter of fact, it's old news, but it's still highly disturbing. It's extremely disturbing. Now, just so you know, I may have a little bit of understanding, a little bit of teeth in this game. Let me give you a little bit of background about Pastor Dowell. I got out of the military with about 9 years. I served 9 years and 9 months. I was a staff sergeant in E6 when I got out. And I had been in the 82nd Airborne Division, the 3rd Infantry Division, and Op 4, the 1st to 509th. Especially in 82nd, and especially in Op 4, the 1st to the 509th. I had a lot of dealings with Special Forces, Rangers. Always had Rangers around. I'm airborne. I've got well over 100 jumps from aircrafts. I was the type of person that will go and volunteer. And when I achieved a lot of my jumps while at Op 4, because when we wasn't in between rotation, they would have these fun days and stuff, and sometimes you could get upwards of 4 to 5, and if you really push it hard, 6 fun jumps. That's not including the jumps that I had in 82nd, and then the stints that I had there in Op 4. Now they used to do that a lot when I was stationed in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, before we moved the headquarters to Fort Polk, Louisiana. So anyway, I've got an extraordinary amount of jumps doing that. Now I could be off on my numbers somewhere, but it's pretty close. I also went to air assault school, air assault qualified. I did a lot of things, expert on weapons and stuff like this. But nevertheless, that's just some of the things I used to do in another chapter of my life. That chapter is it's a book to be read, but that chapter has since been closed. Can't write on that one no more. I'm writing on the new one, which is now. But down at Fort Bragg, that's now been renamed Fort Liberty. Of course, you know, there's Special Forces, Delta Force. There's quite a few units down there. Of course, home of the 82nd Airborne Division. 18 Airborne Corps is the headquarters of the whole entire post of it. But there was a Special Forces colonel. And most of you don't understand about these soldiers right here. You see, these soldiers, they deploy all over the world. And they put themselves in harm's way for the mission and the mission success of the United States of America in order to keep Americans safe. And many times they are dressed up in civilian garb. That's the reason why when you look on movies, I'm just going to say this, in different places, some of you wonder why they wearing beards and stuff like this, because they have to fit in the environment and stuff. And of course, Special Forces, one of their main things that they do is actually help train armies and stuff. But when these people go on missions, they're usually out there in the thick of things. And let me say this. I don't mind telling you that I get buyer's remorse sometimes when I look at America and the state that it's in and some of the people that I constantly have to deal with. I find it hard to believe that I actually went out there and served this country to protect some of these assholes that know nothing about duty and honor, nothing about respect, nothing about integrity. They don't understand nothing about any of these because they've never been challenged at all in their lives. All you got to do is just peer into their little pathetic lives, and it makes you wonder, I can't believe that myself and my brethren out there have put ourselves in harm's way for stuff like this. I've met and I've known plenty of Navy SEALs. The majority of the people that I know now are mostly veterans. Rangers, SEALs, paratroopers. Them the ones that pretty much that really get it on a high scale of just total different people. Their discipline level is different. Their Their heart is different. You know, it's like one of these things. You go into the military can't make you the person that you want to be or desire to be. It has to be in your heart. You've got to want to be able to overcome. You've got to want to be a better person, a better man. You've got to want and have a desire to continue to keep learning and getting better. You've got to want to keep up with yourself so that you will always have yourself ready, because you know that the number one weapon that you have is yourself. You got to do those things. But nevertheless, I digress here a little bit. Let's get straight to the story. I'm not going to do no motivational speeches here for a lot of people. Just ain't going to simply work and never take for anyway. But anyway, so as a Special Forces officer, he's sitting at home, and he looks down the road. He noticed that there's these guys allegedly working on a light pole or electric pole, and he has high-powered cameras. And the one reason why he would know that, because when they would do surveillance and stuff like that, the same type of stuff they would use. Except this guy is taking pictures of his family. Y'all hear what I said? Whoever this man was is taking pictures of his family. And he gets up out of the house, he goes down there, he confronts the guy. Why is he taking pictures of his children while they're out playing? And the guy had a heavy Russian accent. Some say Bosnia, but a heavy Russian accent. Next thing you know, they get into a scuffle, start fighting, and the colonel smokes him right there on the spot, smokes him, calls the sheriff department. Lo and behold, there was a surveillance van down the road with another foreign national. I'm going to just use those terms because that's the only thing I can think of right now. Come to find out, he was from Russia too, and the way that they were in a rental car that was rented in the Midwest, and they ended way out there at Fort Liberty, off of the post, into the actual community where a lot of Special Forces and Deltas operators have their families. Now, again, most people don't comprehend this right here, but these men are all over the world. And hey, we're taking pictures of people. People are taking pictures of us. And there's a database out there. And these people, man, they mean business. And of course, what that's telling me is that the policies of Joe Biden has done nothing but compromise America, because when you get 8 to 10 million people that's done, come across this border in the last 3.5 years that he's been in office, and you look at all the chaos that is ensued and pursued. You look at all the terrorist attacks that's taking place. You look at these major cities, all the women that are getting raped, and police officers are getting the hell beat out of them. And I can go on and on and on and on. And of course, now the colonel's he's under investigation. And that's neither here to say. He's still probably carrying on life as usual. Everything's probably going to turn out fine for him, because usually people of that caliber, we, respond and react a little bit slower than anybody else. But when we do, it's usually coming with some serious aggression and violent forces. But hey, hallelujah anyway. But it's highly disturbing, because nowadays when you walk down the road, when you're in a mall, or if you're at a gas station or a grocery store, you can look around. And we already know that America is already a diverse country. Somewhat, the Caucasians still have like a 69% rating, or maybe a little bit lower now. But man, when you got all these different illegal immigrants, migrants, whatever you want to call them, coming in with different philosophies and perspectives and stuff, and don't know our laws, and don't know how to behave in our culture and this civilization over here, that's some serious problems. And I said this to say this, that, if there ever was a time you be particularly careful about where you allow your family to travel and where they go. Their whereabouts at all times. Even now, I'm glad that I'm not like a lot of other people. I live in a very rural area. I'm sure you can see. Look, that's pretty dang rural. The only thing you hear going is a weed eater out here, and because we are definitely way, way out. And if it wasn't for that weed eater, the only thing you would hear is birds. But we're way out here. And even at this, I teach all of our people to always have a heightened sense of awareness. Always be aware of your environment. You see anybody walking on our land, trespassing. First of all, number one, there's no trespassing signs all over this 101 acres. And then people should pretty much know our reputation up here. We don't put up with no BS. Don't come down here unannounced. That's where you can get in touch with us, but don't you dare come up on this land unannounced, because we take that stuff extremely serious down here in the South. But I try my best to keep our people with a sober mind, a sober heart, mind, and spirit, because I'm telling you, it's highly disturbing when you have a job and your mission is always abroad in other third world countries and sometime in other countries that less than desirable or not even desirable of America. They hate the Americans and enemies of the state of America. And then here you are in your own backyard and you got some foreign guy with a high-powered camera taking pictures of your family. Now, your mind can go 1,000 different ways on stuff like that, but I tell you, it's disturbing. And I think it's because of the Democratic policies and stuff. They have let more terrorists into this country. And I saw that one guy on YouTube some time ago. You don't know who I am, you will know who I am very soon. And Americans don't get it. You know, they so used to their football, basketball, baseball, all the distractions, movies and everything. And they usually just, for the most part, operate with their head caught up in the clouds and all this other stuff. They're not really sincere. And they don't really truly get what really truly happens and takes place in the real world, because most people hadn't traveled much. And, you know, I've been to a lot of countries in this world. In this little short period of life that I've lived, I mean a lot. I have traveled extensively in the military and outside the military. And of course, as the old word says, he that travels much knows much. And I've been able to draw from a plethora of wisdom and knowledge and understanding, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not good. I think everybody, especially if y'all listen to me, you need to be extremely careful about your surroundings, your family. Always, always, always arm yourself. Make sure you're trained and you're very proficient upon your primary and secondary weapon. Make sure you chart out the courses that you're going. Make sure you're aware when you get out of the vehicle. Listen, even if you're stopping at a gas station, if you have to go in and use the gas station for a restroom break or a refreshment break or to refuel or whatever it is, you get back in that vehicle and you head back on the road, you got to win. But even at that, you still need to be checking front and behind you. Everybody say, well, you're kind of paranoid. Call it what you want. I do know this. You don't get to pick the day or hour when evil comes your way. You don't get to pick the day, the time, or the hour when evil comes your way. But you better be ready. And you better be ready to confront it and look at it straight dead in its eye and be ready for if and when that day does come. But I believe that there are terror cells in here entrenched. I think this should be a lesson learned for all of us, but especially for the operators community, the special warfare, special skills community. Y'all really, truly need to be watching, because it ain't good. It's not good what the powers that be have and what they're doing and what they're planning out here today. Is just simply ain't good. And I don't know anybody that's going to have our best interest in mind. I made a purpose of my life to make sure that I'm not going to depend on the system. I'm not going to depend on the system. I'm not going to depend on 911 to come and protect me or defend me and stuff when I'm more than capable of doing that myself. And my brethren surround me. I was surrounding myself with like-minded people who get it, who comprehend it, who understand. I'm just I guess you could say I'm just disturbed. And I know I'm reporting on this late, but I just wanted to give y'all my sentiments on this. I think that if there ever was a time for us to be sober, we really need to be sober and watch. And not only that, even more so, you watch those who are not with you, that are not too much favor of your cause too as well. Because remember, there's nothing from without that can destroy, only that which is within. So y'all special warfare community and stuff, y'all make yourself aware, be aware and be sober, because you don't never know.